Welcome back to Connecting to Spirit. I'm so excited about today's episode because we have a truly special guest, someone who's had a huge impact in my own journey, Marnie LeFevre, who is the founder and CEO of Fempire, an international business coaching brand aimed at inspiring women to become qualified business coaches and lead with confidence. With a background in marketing and business, Marnie has worked with high-profile entrepreneurs like Richard Branson and British Telecom. She has also lived and worked and studied in various countries, establishing businesses in different industries worldwide. Marnie's success has led her to become the #1 best-selling author of a business book for women, a global speaker on business and leadership, and the creator of Fempire International. Her coaching company offers a unique certification curriculum for women who are seeking to become coaches, making the business of coaching easy, and also providing all the necessary support and resources for women to launch their own coaching businesses and become the leaders that inspire the next generation. Marnie is on a mission to empower women to step up and become the leaders that little girls look up to. And in today's episode, we talk about a really important topic close to my own heart, which is intuition in business. How do we trust our gut when making big decisions? How do we blend strategy with spirituality? And how can intuition become one of the most powerful tools in business? Marnie was my business coach for 4 years, guiding me through the highs and lows of entrepreneurship. And during that time, we even did a channeling practice together that led to some mind-blowing experiences, something that we'll be diving into today as well. This is a conversation you won't want to miss, so let's jump in. Here's my chat with Marnie LeFevre. Welcome back to Connecting to Spirit. I'm your host, Lisa Brandis, and today I have a very special guest for you. I'm sitting down with someone who has been a huge part of my personal and business journey, my former business coach, Marnie LeFevre. We worked together for about 4 years, and during that time, I experienced incredible growth, but also some tough lessons, which comes with owning a business. Through it all, I learned so much, but one of the main things is to trust my intuition in business. And today we're going to dive into how you can do the same. If you've ever wondered how to make aligned decisions, how to listen to your inner guidance and bring more spiritual wisdom to your work, this episode is for you. And stay tuned until the end because we're going to be doing something very special. I'll be bringing through a live channeling from Anya to share some guidance about what we speak about today. So let's dive in. Marnie, welcome to the podcast. It's so special to have you here today.
It's an absolute gift.
Well, let's get started with this. You've worked with so many business owners, including me, and you really emphasize the role of intuition in business. Why do you think intuition is such an important skill for entrepreneurs?
That's a great question. I think we just need to recognize that it's 11:11 a.m. right now.
Oh, that's so cool. It is too.
God.
So we should stop and thank the angels. And what do you do as a process for that?
I just notice that I'm always surrounded by guides and intuition and all just those really rich things that I think give you another level to your life, to business, to feeling confident that all the decisions you make and all the things that happen to you and for you aren't just on you, I guess would be my little piece of wisdom there. But the question you asked is, maybe repeat the question.
The question was, distracted by the 11:11.
Yeah.
For me, I always just use it as a time to just stop and get into the present moment. Because sometimes I think we're so much up in the illogical brain. So I love it just to get into the heart and get connected again. So I think it's important just sometimes to stop and breathe, which we can do right now and get connected.
And I also to notice what you're doing right then to see if it is that little bit of a sign saying, this is what you should be doing, or you need to stop for a moment.
Or watch the thoughts you're thinking.
Pay attention. Yeah.
Definitely. So the question that I asked is, why do you think intuition is such an important skill for entrepreneurs?
Okay, so interestingly, when you first started coaching with me, Lace, you were right into intuition, right? Of course, that was your business.
15 years spirituality.
But, we come into business and we say, well, no, that needs to be parked because business is all about productivity, accountability, create. The thing that makes business flow and makes business fun and ensures that you're Probably more successful is that intuitive piece. Why would you even start a business? You might start a business based on an idea. That's an intuitive impulse, that idea, right? And so I think intuition always needs to come first, that intuitive impulse. Then you bring through the planning, the scheduling, the productivity, all the things that you need to make that intuitive impulse happen. But also during business, I think, when something doesn't feel right, and you would have had this a lot of I know you've had this a lot of time.
Yeah.
When it doesn't feel right, it's not right. And there's a reason.
Yeah. And quite often the logical mind gets in the way, especially if there's a decision that perhaps you're afraid of. So I know for me, a lot of working with you was having that courage to, to step out. I know when I first started speaking on stage, it was the intuition was guiding me. There was that nudge from spirit kind of, but the lack of confidence was there. So
And
sometimes structure. Yeah, there was structure.
That's not on the intuitive side. That's more on the,
Analytical.
Once you've had that guidance from spirit, that intuitive impulse, that feeling, that deep gut feeling, whatever you want to call it, then you need the structure and you need the knowledge and all the things behind that to then, take action on your impulse.
Yeah, very true.
If your intuition is telling you to take action. Of course, if it's telling you not to take action, then that's the same thing too. Okay, is a lot of people say, yeah, but, I've had intuition and it's taken me down the wrong path.
Yeah.
Right? We've been there.
Or we blame intuition when in fact it was just a lesson.
I think we're brainwashed into believing that all intuitive actions or intuition is supposed to be positive. But I think a lot of it too is, yes, you're supposed to trust your intuition, absolutely, but we don't see the bigger picture. So we take this, so I might have, in the past, I've taken I've seen a business and a business idea, and I've had that intuitive impulse, and the people that have needed to show up start showing up, and I go, okay, this is meant to be. And it is meant to be. And it might not work out the way I thought it would work out in the end, or the way I imagined it to, or would have liked it to, or planned it to. But I got a lot of lessons, and I don't see those lessons until maybe 1 or 2 years down the track. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm so glad I have this knowledge that I got through that smaller fail, or that kind of fail, or that nothing's a fail, that journey, because now I get why I needed to know that.
Yeah, and why that
to do that.
Yeah, the change. I know a lot of the work that we did together, and from on a personal level as well, was also about doing the work, on releasing those sabotaging patterns and programs. How does intuition, do you think, factor in making that journey easier from your perspective?
Doing the work?
Yeah, just releasing the blocks, the subconscious blocks that keep us small, perhaps, if we're speaking on stage. Yeah, so how do you use intuition to make that journey easier?
Well, I think first you have to get really comfortable with understanding what an intuitive message is and what a actual fear is. So, it could be intuition, it could be
just
a limiting belief, something that's trying to protect you, keep you safe. How do we get around it? We do things like your business offers, which is we learn how to connect and get a deeper trust in intuitive messages, trust in quieting the mind, and a great way to do that, to be honest, for me in the past was Reiki. Getting into that quiet space through energy, running energy. Other people do it through meditation or whatever your practice is, going for a walk and just trying to clear your mind of thoughts. That intuitive impulse will be that first impulse.
Have you been feeling called to learn Reiki, not just to channel powerful healing energy, but also to awaken your intuition in the process? Now it's easier than ever. After 22 years of teaching Reiki in person, I've created a high-quality online training experience that gives you lifetime access to become a certified and accredited intuitive Reiki healer. Through Intuitive Reiki International, you'll gain the skills to step into a rewarding new career. Plus, you'll connect with a thriving community of like-minded healers and make a real difference in people's lives. If you feel the calling, don't wait. The time is now to embrace your passion and start your Reiki journey. Visit intuitivereiki.online to get started today. It is, isn't it? And then quite often it's the mind that comes in after that second guesses that initial impulse to do something is usually the one that drops in from spirit or drops in from that broader perspective. I had an experience yesterday in a hypnosis session I was in, and she said to me, imagine what it would look like if you were doing what you love without the money, back to that passion piece, where you're just doing what you love. And I instantly had a vision of channeling and a big audience in front, and it felt right for like 30 seconds. And then straight away, it's like my mind came in, this critter brain came in, and interesting, I was deep in hypnosis, and I literally have different parts of my body cross over where I don't know left from right, and I get this really deep, go in deep. And then I literally saw all these data just filtering down through my inner vision. And then I came right out of hypnosis and said, oh my God, that it was the weirdest thing. It was almost like I was energetically cancelling out the thing I was wanting seconds after seeing it drop in from spirit, going, well, you can totally have this.
You're logical.
Oh my God. And it was so interesting. And I could feel, it's like that passion about how often do we cancel out the passion through fear or wanting to stay small? Yeah.
Well, okay, like you said, the critter mind or the reptilian brain's there, its only job is to protect you and ensure you survive. And so if it's something that's completely out of your comfort zone, of course, intuition is going to be like, come out here and play outside of this comfort zone. And you're like, what? Your reptilian brain's going to go, I don't think so. Here's all the things that could happen to you.
Yeah.
And we want to stay safe, and especially as women.
And public speaking's tough, isn't it?
Especially as women.
Yep.
We are conditioned deeply. I mean, I own a business like Fempire, so I see it all the time, right? So we are conditioned to stay safe. It's a deep thing. It's putting the keys between your fingers when you walk through a car park. And I do share with my beautiful male friends that this is just something it's just always on our minds when we walk to the car, whereas it's not on their minds. And, we're wired to keep ourselves safe. We all are, men and women. But I think for women, it's greater. I believe, and through all the studies that I've done, women's intuition helps to keep you safe.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
If you lean into it, it does actually help to keep you safe, as well as it's when we get outside of our comfort zones that we bring in all that protection, I think, as well. So that sort of is slightly left of field from intuitive impulse. But we should probably get back to that in business, though, right?
Yeah,
so what's your next question?
So have you got a story where, you can reflect with the listeners, a time when you either trusted your intuition and it worked out really well for you, or where you went against that intuitive knowing and paid the price of, perhaps, not listening and not taking action? Because I think it's one thing to get an intuitive insight. It's one thing to know something, even if we don't logically understand why. And quite often that's what intuition is. It's non-rational at times and just an energetic or a feeling, or something doesn't feel right, but I can't understand why. So, curious if you can remember a time when it either served you or didn't.
I've been working with intuition for a really long time. So I would say it's always served me, even when perhaps the results haven't been what I had wanted, but probably even just using it more to your advantage. So I've learned over the years that using intuition to your advantage is a really good thing. So I remember I was constantly, this is to do with you, so it's relevant, constantly.
Doesn't have to be a story that includes me.
No, well, this is the one that's popped into my head.
Okay.
So I was constantly being harassed by spirit or intuition or whatever you want to call it, to study Reiki.
Oh, yeah.
You know the story, right?
Yeah, I
to
know
study
this one.
Reiki. And I was like, and I was so busy. We were touring Australia. We're doing speaking gigs to entrepreneurs for, 200, 500 people, whatever, women actually. And I had no time. I was just like, my big response was, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. And it just kept popping in. And I was like, this is where. So initially, of course, resisting intuition. I'm too busy. I'm too overwhelmed. I've got too much to do already. And then eventually I just remember throwing my hands up, the proverbial hands up in the air, and just going, all right, if you want me to study Reiki, then send me the Reiki master, because I am not.
I'm not going to Google search one.
I'm looking for one. And I think it was that day that my client came in. She was like, I've just done a Reiki course with this great and I was just like, oh.
You said, thank you, universe, for making it so easy.
I went,
damn it.
wrong.
Now I've got to learn Reiki.
Fine. And then I think, did I email you?
No, I came to Secrets in the Garden where you were speaking.
I still didn't.
Literally, the universe delivered me right in front of her.
Yeah.
And then I said, I loved your talk. And then you're like, and I introduced you.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And then I did say, listen, I'm not acting unless you literally deliver her to, or him or whoever, to me.
I was sitting front row.
Literally. Another great business-related one. So that was to do with, I guess, personal growth, but then I brought that Reiki and the energy healing into accelerating my intuition and all the things. And then we brought it into business more, and that was really great. So it did work. And Lisa ended up being a client for 4 years. So there you go. So we were interviewing for events managers for a business assistant in the business. And we had all these girls in there, and my husband was in there interviewing as well. And a couple of girls came through, and Grace was fabulous on paper. She'd done what we were doing with tours and stuff before. She was experienced. She had a great resume. She was bubbly, lovely girl. So, and then there was another girl, Emily. And we interviewed Emily. We interviewed Grace. We interviewed some other girls, and I knew they weren't the right one. And I remember leaving that meeting and saying to my husband, it's Emily. Emily's who we need to hire. And he went, Grace is better. This is the masculine versus the feminine, right? Grace has more experience. Grace, I think Grace is the one. I said, but I feel intuitively that it's Emily. Anyway, what I do, I listened to not the logic. I listened to logic. I can't blame him, but I listened to it because I was the one that listened and probably lost my confidence a little, whatever, because I didn't have that second saying yes. Grace started, and she pretty much cried the entire week she worked for us, because she knew intuitively this wasn't the best move for her. Nothing to do with the business. We bought her tickets. We'd invested in all that. We were training her, but she was in tears all the time. And then I ended up taking that week to coach her through
her emotional,
a powerful decision for her. And so she decided to leave. And then I rang the recruiter back and I said, listen, we're going to start this. She goes, well, listen, Emily seemed really keen. Did you want to just see if she's still available? And I was like, yeah, that'd be great. Anyway, we ended up hiring Emily, and she was a superstar. She was no experience, but she was an absolute rock star, and we
very passionate.
Great addition to the team. So it's not always. That's where intuition in business can be really powerful, really powerful. So really listen to that gut feeling, or whatever you want to call it. It's funny. Intuition is a very feminine word, and men use gut. Your gut feeling,
or that knowing, just
whatever it is. Your gut is. We have neurons in our gut. It does talk to us.
It is another brain.
That's where you'll get a lot of your really great wisdom. So there's a business story for you.
Perfect. I love it. It's good to be able to relate to, from both sides. I think for me, it was the understanding that even though I was a spiritual teacher and had the practice and the therapy all done, I wasn't a businesswoman. And I think the biggest connection between you and I was that there was a synergy. And it's hard to pinpoint. I think someone said to me, you always did the bigger picture vision and then would help me to structure. So there was a lot of that left brain structure that I got from coaching with you. But there was, and I still can't even put a finger on what it is, maybe you can help. But there was a resonance between you and I as to the ideas that would come in. And I do think it's because we were connected and had an energetic connection, but there was also a direct connection to spirit. So when the ideas would drop in and you would suggest for me to do something like perhaps expand my workshops, even though I'd have the resistance, there was a part of me that knew it was what I wanted. And so the intuition and the connection that made for that successful journey, I think, is something worth speaking of. So that was from my perspective, was because if someone's coaching you and they're giving you suggestions and it doesn't resonate and you don't want to do it, that's a totally different feeling to why I think we experience so much success. There was that encouragement and courage that came from your bigger vision, seeing things that perhaps I didn't believe I could achieve, but it was in alignment with what I wanted to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, again, the whole intuition and serendipity. I mean, spirit or your guides or God or whatever you believe in doesn't deliver when you operate from a place of intuition and from centered guidance, then you will be put together with the person that can help you
go to that next level.
I think. Like one of our coaches, and it's just a basic intuition thing that we use every day. And again, women are great at this. The one of my coaches, so Fempire has a business coach program, and one of our coaches just told me yesterday in our office hours that she had been sitting next to a woman at networking, and the woman turned to her and said that after she spoke, she said she was going to engage with a male business coach, and she said there just was something that didn't sit, and it didn't sit, and it didn't sit, and she didn't know why, because this guy was experienced, and I'm sure he's fabulous at what he does, but she was just like, I don't know what it was. There was a resistance. There's that resistance, right?
Just something doesn't feel right. You can't put your finger on.
You have to work out whether it's coming from fear or whether it's coming from intuition, which is
the biggest question. That is
the
biggest question I get, is how do we know the difference?
Yeah. So, well, maybe we can share
Come back to that next.
Yeah. So, and then she said she sat down next to this woman, and the woman said within 10 minutes she knew that she was the coach that she wanted, and she went on to then engage her straight away. So, again, it's that.
It was the same with us as well, right back in the beginning. Yeah, there was just a feeling and a knowing.
Well, if you wait, so I knew if I said to the universe, look, deliver whoever's supposed to teach me Reiki, because I haven't got time to go look, and I don't want to, whatever the thing was. And obviously it was something that really needed to happen. So then Lisa just showed.
I think along the way there's been a synergy between us where there's been where I think we've both gotten benefit out of not only you as a coach, I'm putting words in your mouth, but from the experience of being coached. Also, we had a channeling experience, which was outside of the coaching arrangement, but served us as well. We didn't know in the very beginning.
Was it though? Was it outside the coaching?
Well, it wasn't essentially part of the coaching program, really. It was done after hours, and
I would suggest it was on intuitive.
Oh, it was definitely intuitive guidance,
and then that led
to it led to big changes,
channeling into your business. Yeah,
and I think I remember initially it was just like, well, we don't know where we're going with this. We had an experience that I've shared in another video you can go and find, where we talk about how you first dropped into channeling your guide, Christian. And then we decided from that point, well, that was cool. That was interesting. How about we just do it again? Let's just follow the joy, which to me is following that path of intuition. We get breadcrumbs from spirit. We get insights and ideas that pop in. And that when it's in resonance to me, there's a feeling of excitement, a leaning into, a fun, even though there may be nervousness about it because perhaps it's a change or it's something we haven't done before. There's that familiar feeling that we're doing the right thing. And then also sometimes you just have to go with curiosity and have the experience. And if it's enjoyable, then we'll keep doing it. And I think we set out in the beginning with that. It was like, well, let's just see how it goes. We had no idea how long we'd be doing that. We met every week for, I think it was about 12 months from memory. And it turned out to be, just like you said, initially we thought it was teaching you how to channel and giving you that experience, as well as me developing and getting more confidence. But then in the end, it was really, about that practice of channeling to be able to bring it, into the world, which
for
I think
you
is
to
pretty
find
important.
the confidence to bring your gift. Teach it, because you'd already taught it to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And working out how you could make it the most powerful.
So I'd like to leave the listeners with
we haven't.
Oh, there was a question.
How do you know when it's fear? Because
how do you know the difference between whether it's actually on your path?
Okay, you go first. You share what you do.
For me, I check in with the head, heart, and gut. So if I'm making a decision, I will obviously go in with what is my thought? What do I rationally think about this? If it's a choice or a decision, then I'll go with what is my heart telling me. And then I'll go, what's my gut feeling? And I'll do like just an internal checking with my body. Does it feel expansive or like a contraction? So for me, I feel if something's not right for me, I'll feel like I'm pulling away and going in and caving. Yet when it's something that is right for me, but perhaps I'm just nervous about it or I don't know how to do it, it'll feel expansive. And quite often there's this line that we teeter between of feeling afraid of the thing we're supposed to expand into because we've never done it. We're always on that kind of sitting on the edge. And for me, the most rewarding things have come from stepping in and leaning into the fear and doing it anyway and taking the action. And to be absolutely honest, sometimes I don't know with clarity until I've had the experience. I'm like, I don't know if this is right. I don't fully understand whether it's just an idea coming from my head or whether it's intuitive. And I think we all kind of want this 100% guarantee when we're going to step into a new space that it's going to be right and it's going to be good and it's going to work. But the truth is we don't and we can't get that. And even as someone that's been, as a spiritual teacher and working with it for most of my life, intuition, it doesn't give us a crystal ball and the answers because we're co-creating with spirit. We haven't had the experience yet. So, and a lot of probably the biggest lessons and the biggest insights that I've gotten have come from the biggest challenges, and so we wouldn't walk in. We wouldn't walk into them knowingly. I'm like, if I knew that was going to happen, I wouldn't have gone there. But
that's like starting a business.
Oh yeah. Who knew that was such a personal journey?
So many entrepreneurs will say, oh God, if I'd known what it took, I never would have begun. Okay. So mine is a little bit probably more practical because you are so enveloped and advanced in your feeling. Like you
everything processes through my feeling. Yeah.
You really know your body and you know the different signs, and that takes years of practice for some people. Yeah. Some people it's just like this, but others it takes lots of practice. One exercise is the body pendulum. So that is if you don't know, let's say something simple like you don't know if you should be working with one person or another person. So you write their names down on something and then you hold that thing. If your body's leaning forward towards it like a pendulum, then that's hopefully intuitively try to get in a meditative state without any knowing that you don't have to take any action at all. So that can sometimes help you to feel more authentic in what happens. Because if you can blank your mind and just master your state and keep it neutral, then you're going to get a better reading. If you have ideas on what you want, you're going to influence that body pendulum, but you just hold it. Maybe it's vitamins. You're wondering if you should take these vitamins. You hold it in your hand, and if you lean towards it, then it's likely the best intuitive. Your body knows a lot, and it knows how to communicate with you, the things with you. So, but if you're leaning away, a bit like Lisa's expansive or retracting, same thing, not a bit like, but same thing. If your body's literally leaning away, then it's not for you. Try and then just maybe sit with it for a bit. What I do know, if you keep asking, wanting the answer to be something different, it's just going to get confusing.
I don't know how many times we've picked up like an angel card deck. You may have had this experience. You've shuffled it and you put it out your card and you go, oh, not that one, and put it back in. Because it literally is telling you something you don't want to know or you don't want to hear. And sometimes it's always the human aspect that gets in the way of the spiritual message, which is usually pure and clear. And then it's our resistance or our fight against it. And the beauty is with spirituality is we have the choice. We don't have to do anything. My guides have been telling me coffee is not good for my body for years, but I still have coffee every day because guess what? I choose to override that very clear, intuitive gut. And even though my body's having resistance to it now, I have, brought it back to 1 cup a day. But I still have the choice, but I do suffer the consequences of the actions that I take.
sometimes you won't get that absolute proof. So the other day, another thing is for some people who can remember their dreams or pay attention to your dreams, I get a lot of intuitive guidance through dreams. So you've got to find your lane and work with it. All about, like I said, starting an energy healing practice or a meditation practice or paying attention to have a dream book next to your bed, whatever it is that helps you to get more connected to your intuition. A great story for me that just happened the other day was I was dreaming or whatever. Honestly, I can't remember the dream, but when I woke up, this word calcium was screamed into my head. And that's when your mind's most switched off, right?
In that first waking.
Yeah. Now, I didn't run out that day and buy calcium for my bones, but it did. I thought about it and went, well, I'm perimenopausal and it's likely that
you don't drink
and
milk
I had
anymore.
So I don't. I was sort of asking what health things did my body need, and that just screamed at me. So a couple of days later, I went and bought calcium supplements. Yeah. Now, am I ever going to get solid proof that particular decision helped my long-term whatever? Maybe not, because a number of factors could play into that, but I just have to trust the guidance.
Like the million small things that I think being aware and awakened to your intuition just creates an easier ebb and flow in life. That's my personal opinion. We can be totally logical and we can just operate out of what we know, and almost there's a controlling element to life when we live that way, versus spirituality is the right brain, which is creative and impulsive. And sometimes, it's a little messy, but I just, because it's exactly right. That I remember having that thought once, like when I get an intuitive thought of just turn right or take a different way. And I now act on it, especially when there's no reason not to. Like when it's like, well, I can go left or right. It's not going to change my journey that much to just trust that impulse. And then quite often I don't even question why or where, but we don't know what we saved ourselves from because we took that instinct and went with it, rather than, the car accident we may have saved ourselves from.
Or there's, you'll sometimes get that instant gratification, which is the perfect parking spot. Or the place is actually not where you thought it was. It's where spirit told you it was, or your intuition told you it was, or whatever, your guidance told you it was.
And I think life gets really interesting when you start to move out of just that responsive kind of, when it just lands intuitively, versus co-creating more opportunities to be intuitive, to set aside time to ask and directly connect with intuition with your questions, asking for that internal guidance. And I think that's a really powerful shift. And I know it certainly helped me with business decisions and just getting more clear on what I want before I take action.
Once you develop that trust in your intuition, it makes life flow a lot more. I mean, I was really stuck in what I was supposed to be pricing some programs for. Just super stuck, had no idea. They were new programs, and yes, you can go out and you do the research and you test the market and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
But we didn't have the testing capability for this particular thing. So I literally relied on intuition, which was I pulled out a pendulum and I had prices laid out, and I asked yes, no questions to get what those prices might be.
Yeah.
And honestly, they were lower than I would ever have picked initially.
Yeah.
And it worked out really well.
Yeah.
It worked out really well. And then we increased them later, which I know to do in business. When you launch something, you start this and then you whatever. So some people might say, but that's just based on your past, what you know to be true from the past. But sometimes we forget that. So our intuition or subconscious or whatever you want to call it will come through and yes, help us from past life experiences, but also help us from information we don't know to be true. So there's a bit of a combination in there. And then there's that trust. I had to trust that even though it said the prices that I wasn't completely happy with, it was. I still took the action and trusted the guidance. So there's that.
Sometimes you just
things easier for you.
Yeah,
right? You're like, okay,
it's an experiment. It's almost like you just go, well, I'm going to experiment, see how it feels, and try it out and test it and have the experience. Yeah,
you let the need to be right go, and you you don't outsource it, but you start to just trust and trust the journey, because I trusted that it could be the wrong decision too, but I was willing to just try guidance because I was stuck.
Well, I wanted to come up with a quick exercise that the listeners can do. So I thought what we'd do is we'd show you how easy it is to tap into that intuition. So let's do it together. So first of all, just close your eyes. If you're not driving, obviously, just listen if you are. Close your eyes and just take a nice big deep breath in. So breathing in and breathing out. Just really let your body relax and just be present in the moment. And now I want you to set an intention for this next segment of your life. So wherever it is that you are, whatever it is that you're doing, just think about the next, even if it's just the next half an hour, just the next segment in your life. Set an intention for what you'd like to experience or how you'd like to feel. And just opening to receiving messages from your intuition or from your higher power or from the universe, whatever you want to call it, God, if that resonates. And in your mind, just ask the question, what word do I need to hear today? So ask the question in your mind and then just wait for the answer to be received. And don't force it. Just stay open and allow the first word that pops into your mind to come through. So I actually got more than one. And it's interesting, isn't it? What was your word? Did you get one word?
Yellow.
You got yellow. Okay. So what is that, when you think of the word yellow, what does that mean for you? Or is there any particular meaning around that?
It doesn't, but I kind of set the challenge. I guess I took your words and took it as if I hear the word yellow, then whatever I'd been thinking of previously that might be my next steps, then that's correct. It's like when you say, well, I don't believe in any of this, show me. You just keep seeing a white feather, right? Or a speckled feather, one that you would perhaps
never think of.
And then suddenly you find it and you're like, okay, so there is.
So, and quite often we can then take that word. So I got two words. The first word I got was connection, and then I got confidence. And then I got peace. I got three words. So connection, confidence, and peace. I'm an overachiever. I did set out this exercise myself for one word. So with that word yellow, if we just take a moment, I like to kind of digest our intuitive messages and find meaning for them for ourselves. So the exercise was, Marnie, for you to look at the next half an hour. And so with the word yellow, what meaning do you think you can draw from it that would be like a message from love or spirit or intuition?
The meaning,
for you.
Well, the meaning is to progress on the business idea I've been chewing on.
So yellow is like a green light, or is it positivity, or is it
green light? It's like, you're on the right path.
Yeah,
it's like seeing that when you're thinking of something and seeing your double numbers, or I'm on the right path, or seeing a particular message from spirit somehow. But so I don't know, I kind of kept it loose, and it was just yellow was just so random. I was like, okay, well, we'll see what happens with that.
So what happens,
and I tell you what, I will check back in with Lisa at some point.
Let us know if anything manifests from the yellow. And it can be helpful to share it with a friend as well. Sometimes we can't always get clear, and it can be helpful to get a reading or to share it with a friend.
What does yellow mean to you?
See,
then?
Yeah, there you go. I was wondering if you were going to ask. You don't outsource your intuition, but it can be helpful because someone might be able to share a different perspective you might not have considered. So to me, yellow represents a sun. So I think of the colour yellow, I associate it with the sun. And to me, I also think of, sun equals joyful play. So the image and the essence that I'm getting right now is like a little child running around just in freedom and in play. So that's what I feel when I connect in with you now and respond to that message. So, and likewise, to me, confidence, peace, when I thought of the next half an hour, I want to feel peaceful. I love that. I felt like, to me, confidence was representing how I actually was feeling in this experience with you today. So I didn't feel it initially, but then as we started talking, I just settled into confident. And I think that comes from the experiences that we've had and shared. Over time, my confidence in my business and my intuition and my decisions has definitely grown. Peace, confidence, and what was the other word I had? Peace, confidence. Oh, it's gone. Maybe I'll have to put. Can you remember it?
No.
Not me neither. Peace, confidence. It'll come to me in a minute, or it won't anyway. So I'd love to know what your word was. So pop it in the chat and share with us what you got. But most importantly, what does it mean to you? So drawing meaning from the messages that you receive can be fun and just for the sake of play. I have an odd question, which I thought I'd throw in just for fun because that was also on my agenda. If you could have anyone alive or that has passed play you in a movie, who would you choose? I didn't know about this question. Who would you choose to play you? I know who I think I'd choose for you.
One of the minions. Who would? Oh God, that's really putting me on the spot. Kate Blanchett.
Oh yeah, she's cool. Love Kate Blanchett. Yeah, she's amazing.
Who would you put?
I would have thought
Farrah Fawcett.
Oh yeah, it was right. Farrah Fawcett.
I used to get that a lot in my 20s because
of your beautiful hair.
Yeah, well, I'm not unhappy with
I'd be Sandra Bullock, of course.
That's right.
Love Sandra Bullock. So yeah, I think it's nice to. Oh, that's right. We did promise at the end that we'd bring through Anya and do a bit of a message. Do you want to channel Christian?
No.
I knew you'd say that. I thought I'd ask. Be rude not to ask. Okay, so I'll just bring through a message and we'll see what Anya has to say about what we've been discussing today. Maybe she can remember that third word that I can't. Yes. We are here. We are very interested in hearing the definitions of how you can connect with us and your intuition and your intuitive knowing, and also how that can allow you to make clearer decisions in business. But also we like to reflect upon how not only can it serve you in the business aspect, but also in everyday life. It is about leaning into a vibration and a frequency of unconditional love. That is what we are here to represent, firstly and most importantly, for yourself as an avenue and a pathway for you to connect into a feeling of coming home, a feeling of knowing that you are supported, knowing that you are loved, knowing that you are encouraged in all of the endeavors you wish to experience in this life. We don't come with an agenda. We come with partly an agenda to connect for those of you like Lisa who have chosen long before this incarnation to allow us to express through and with her in order to bring intuitive messages through to humanity to raise the collective vibration. We want to remind you that it starts with you. Our purpose, first and foremost, is to help you to align to what it is that gifts you with a feeling of presence, a feeling of connection, which was that third word that Lisa could not recall, because it is important to not only feel that connection with the vibration of love that is here to support you, but also most importantly, and the part that we love reflecting on and experiencing with and through you, is the connection that you have with each other. Nothing is more important than opening your hearts, sharing in vulnerability. And it is through, as Lisa and Marnie have both experienced, through the greatest challenges and triumphs that the most beautiful connections have been formed, some which last a short time whilst working together, and as in this case is proven to go beyond into friendship, which has been rewarding, certainly from our perspective to witness, and also through, we know, the way in which Lisa resonates and feels. We want to offer you an opportunity, Marnie, while we are here together once more, if there is anything that you would like to ask us today.
I'd just be really happy with a powerful message about 2025 and my journey through it.
Yes, your journey is about moving with grace back into flow and back into starting to bring about the new way in which you're going to be operating and sharing your gifts with the world. There has been a process and a time of reflection, which has been important, as lots of different components of your business have been, some retired, some changed shape and form, and others starting to be born from the gifts that have come through the challenges you've experienced. So we cannot see into the future as to what it is that you will create. However, we do wish to acknowledge the heart with which you operate in, the passion for you to see great leadership Be encouraged with those with whom you connect with and coach, and know that anything that you put your energy, your time, your attention, your heart, your passion, and your dedication towards can only thrive. And we look forward to witnessing and seeing those expressions being birthed through you, through your connection with your own guidance, through your intuition, but most importantly, through what you feel the world needs at this time. And we do feel there's growth within empowering female leaders to step forth, and we feel that there is lots to come from you, and look forward to seeing you start to come out of the shadows. Yes, and start to be seen and start to express if that resonates and feels right for you. We look forward to the experience of it. Beautiful. And our message for you all is to play well, enjoy life, and be gentle and kind with yourselves. The softening in the mind, softening into the expectations that you hold upon yourself, and allow yourself to feel into those intuitive insights, even when, as with Lisa, has recently experienced a feeling of doing too much, having too much on, and then arguing with the fact that she felt overwhelmed, when in fact it was simply because her life had become overwhelming. And it is also acknowledging those difficult emotions are usually there as a message as well. Intuition isn't just about feeling and hearing and experiencing and expressing positive messages. Sometimes it comes through anxiety and stress, and that can be intuitive also. We also acknowledge the very human aspect of your experience. And to summarize, when Lisa just simply understood that the overwhelm came because she has a lot on her plate, she was able to make different choices and start to learn how to say no to some of the things that were taking time, even though she wanted to do them. Yes. So short period, trust in that feeling, trust in that was the gut bringing up a discomfort for a reason. Yes. And we hope that sharing Lisa's personal stories, which she loves us to do so much, helps you to unpack and understand your bodies and your emotions and your natural responses to what's going on in your life experience. We have enjoyed this encounter and look forward to many more. Namaste. Oh man, she speaks almost without breath and it just flows. I could see and sense what she was saying from you, but I feel like she was holding back a little bit because we're in a public experience here as well. So
what you're saying is I don't know, really wanted to kick my ass.
So get out and get out.
She wasn't going to do it in a public forum. Okay.
No, she's too gentle for that, I think. I think it's just encouraging you, to follow your passion and do what feels right. And there's no guarantees, is it? You know, we kind of just step in and give it a go. Just do one, whatever it is. Just do one and see how it goes. I hope it has. It's been fun. And I hope you enjoyed this experience. Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. I don't take it for granted. I certainly know, and I know, Marnie, you understand this too. That time is so precious. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here. Share this episode if you have a friend or a family member that you think would benefit from understanding more about their intuition, especially their intuition in business. And Marnie, is there any new courses that you have or new experiences that you'd like to share?
No, not at the moment. But what we do have coming up is a retreat in May for speaking with confidence. So learning how to speak from stage and sell from stage. The difference is that we work on it with you. I work on it. It's not just a course where you sit there, take notes, yada, yada. It's really, really, really hands-on. So it's very different to most speaker courses that you'll do. How could you not have fun? And the second is if you want to become a business coach, if you have that background in corporate or in running your own business, but you want the framework and the curriculum, then head over to Fempire and check out the business coach program, and we'll get you certified so that you can step into becoming a business coach with courage, assuming you're a woman, because it's all tailored towards women stepping into business coaching, because there's not enough women out there doing it.
And your website address, so those can jump
Fempire.com.au.
Perfect. We'll pop the links in the show notes. So until next time, trust yourself, listen to your inner wisdom, and keep shining your light. And we'll see you soon. Thanks again, Marnie.
You're welcome.
Okay, bye.
It's been a pleasure.